Fox Dude, what's going on? You are number one. Colleen, hello. You are number two. Ah, the buff is here. D-Man, what's happening? Nothing much. Just living the dream. Hi, Dusty. Happy Monday. Dusty, if things work out, I want to swing over to your shack on Saturday, if that's all right with you. Yeah, don't step on my toes, Destroyer. Come up with your own cool catchphrase. I had to work hard for that. I stole mine from Underdog. I come up with it. It's all original. It's good to see everyone filing in, coming to sit around my campfire. Sun's still shining out. There is no need to fear. It's okay. I walk on them too. Saturday morning, I'm planning on headed to the Ford truck swap meet to be around in the afternoon, evening. All right, Dusty. Cool. Dusty the redneck is he is the owner of the Wolverine Satellite Garage. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Destroyer. I like it. Or you could call yourself the Flying Fortress, which is a destroyer. Or actually, a destroyer is a ship. Hi, Jen. Yeah. Yeah. Smack the like button so hard that it countersinks it a quarter inch. Gonna be a lot of blown head gaskets at the Ford meet. Hey, I'll tell you what. Old Dusty the redneck is pretty damn good. He is the Ford Whisperer. Mean Street Mopar, what's happening? Oh, he bish slapped it. Oh. Oh. Oh, I know. Hey, Braden. Hey, Faith. Well, thanks, Jen. Well, yesterday evening, the refrigerator here at the Wolverine Garage Complex was starting to show signs of not being happy with life, and the cooling things is on the bottom of the fridge. So I went through and I cleaned it all real good, and then I noticed that again it wasn't really perking up, and things weren't as cold as they usually were in the fridge. And then so I went back and I cleaned. I got the air compressor out, and the fridge was probably a definite at least 30 years old, Danster. And it's not showing potatoes. That's unacceptable. Well, so it's time for the fridge to go. It's an old Amana side by side. So as a last ditch effort, I busted out my air compressor and hose and blow nozzle, and I went to town. There's a Spud. There's Bud the Spud. There's another Bud the Spud. And there's another Bud the Spud. And I blew a bunch of dust and whatnot out from under it, and then they we let it run for a little while longer, and then it wasn't getting any colder, and then we started to look in the freezer. And I mean, I that was my last ditch effort. I'm like, if we can't make it get colder, then it's time. And sure enough, we got into the freezer, and then like we usually buy multiple loaves of bread and put the bread in the bottom of the freezer, and the bread wasn't even froze. And that's when we're like, we need a fridge. And so Lady and Dougster and I broke down and we drove up to the hardware store. We bought a new fridge. And yeah, the deal, the lowest price fridge we could find, because we had to have a because of how the kitchen is laid out, I can't have a normal opening refrigerator. I have to have a side by side, freezer fridge combo side by side. And oh, Gen X empty nesters, what's happening? Giggity. So yeah, we ended up getting this was the deal. We found an Amana for $960. Actually, we bought it from Menards, so we get like an 11% rebate. So actually, it was like 1,076, and after rebate, whenever we get that, it'll be like 960. So we installed a fridge last night, and well, I will say this much. Our old fridge is an Amana. The new fridge is an Amana. It's a side-by-side, water in the door, the whole shebang. And I will say this much. The stark difference between our old Amana and our new Amana is staggering. Our hashtag Dougster rules. Yeah. Hashtag giggity. The build quality of our old fridge is light years ahead of this cheap piece of crap that we got for a fridge. I'm not really impressed with. I mean, hey, it'll keep food cold, it'll keep food froze. That's all I need. But at the same note, though, it's just chintzy. Like our old fridge has these really thick glass shelves in them, and they have these heavy duty metal frames around them, and everything you can grab and pull on, and regardless if it's a drawer or not, it still slides out. And it had features and just nice. It was a well built unit. And this, either we got the bottom of the barrel in the Amanas or what, but it is not our old fridge. But hey, whatever. So it keeps food cold. There we go. So yeah, that was fun. Getting it in the house, getting it all set up. Seems to be doing fine. So what else is going on? Water table's high around the house, so the sump pump light or septic tank light come on. So I don't know if it's just that the water table's high around here because it's rained a lot and that it's having a hard time processing all the water, or if we have a failure with the septic tank pump or whatever. We'll give it a while. We'll see where it goes. So yeah, new stuff sucks. And Maytag is nice, but you're gonna pay for a Maytag. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, check this stuff out. So I was looking on the Menards website at haven't had a chance to touch Shop Truck at all this past week, Braden. So there's nothing to report on Shop Truck for an update. So I got to look at what's happening with the septic tank. Hopefully it'll rectify itself just because the water table's high. It's higher than it's been in a few years because of all just the sheer amount of rain we've got. What else? That's about it. Save big money at the Nards. Yeah. The Maytag man banged the Palmolive lady. Well, yeah, the Maytag man has nothing else to do. It's not like he's working on the Maytags, so he's got time to chase the Palmolive lady with her sexy hands. Yeah, the sad thing of all is we probably got 30 years. Well, we moved in. We've lived here over 7 years now, and that fridge has worked great till now. So I mean, I guess we can't complain, but the sad thing is I'll bet you we don't. I bet you we'll get 10 years out of this new fridge. Oh well, home dipshit. I was looking at Home D. I was trying to price everything, So I was looking at what Lowe's had, and looking at what um unfinished projects here, 777, trying to get an 11 horse Honda to fire up. Has low compression. It sputtered once. I think if I can get it spinning fast enough, it might fire a heat cycle or two and it might come back around. Sounds to me like it might have rings stuck on the stuck in and not making full compression. Unfinished. Take your heat gun and point it against the cylinder and let her chooch on that, pressing right up against it. Let her get nice and warm with your heat gun set on high setting, and then come back later and light that pig up. Bet you she'll light off. It's what we used to do for dirt bikes. For my friend had an Honda XL 250 that we couldn't get started. It wasn't making enough compression. And I ended up taking a heat gun, pulling the kicker back just a little bit, and then putting the heat gun on full tilt and laying it right up against the cylinder and letting the kicker lay up against it so it pinched it up in there. And I let it chooch for an hour and come back to it, 3 kicks, and she lit off. So it's worth a try. See if you can get her warm somehow. WD-40 and transmission fluid. Everyone's got their own special mix. I like the acetone and transmission fluid, but it's got to be regular conventional transmission fluid, non-synthetic. That's magic sauce. The only thing, Landon, what's happening? Cousin Magic Mike. Oh, Mexican connections here. Oh, that's right. Dusty's right. Dusty had got his hands on this little 5-horse rear engine Alice Chalmers tractor that somebody left outside to rot, and they left it. I think they left the head off of it, or no, they never left. They left the spark plug out of it, and then Dusty and I ended up playing with it, and then we finally pulled the head off of that little thing, and I soaked it with the sauce and messed with it and warmed it up, and I got the piston to start moving, and then later Dusty threw it back together, and we made that stupid thing run. So hell yeah, that was impressive. We both thought that thing was 100% done. And yeah, Dusty the Redneck and I got that thing up and going, just goofing around in the shop. Yeah, there's something about warming them up because everything expands and you break that rust bond. I've watched guys take tractor engines that were seized up and pull all the material, pull all the hood off of everything, pull the head off, move every wiring, anything important out of the way, and they pour denatured alcohol and a couple of blue shop rags down each bore, and then light that pig on fire, light it up, and let her chooch. And I've seen many an engine come unseized from that stuff. Just it having a boatload of heat. Something that'll make everything expand and break that rust bond. Amazing what will happen when you play with it. Ain't that right? It'll grow. It likes you. Yeah, small engines are amazing. They're pretty resilient and simple. If you guys haven't been watching what Mexican Spec's been posting, he posted a Citation X11 today. the big long hatchback citation in white with the X11 on the door. And it's got a 2.86, and I think it's got a 4-speed in it. And I'll bet you money that little car would scoot pretty nice. And it's a decent looking car. And it's like not even 10 large for it. That thing would be a great gas sipper, fun to drive, and nobody else would have one. They've all melted away here in Michigan. I haven't seen one of those in 20, 30 years. The high output 2.8 V6. Yeah, and that 2.8, the front drive 2.8 is a totally different animal versus the one that, like the carbureted one that they put in the S10 pickups. Those things were dogs. But yeah, that's a great little car. That'd be a great little gas sipper. I think I'll probably get 30 miles to the gallon. It being a citation, the 4-speed definitely makes it fun. Is that carbureted or fuel injected, Max? Because that's right on that edge. It could be carbureted, it could be fuel injected. I think it's fuel injected. Yeah, great little car. My friend had a red one of those, but it wasn't an X11 and it wasn't a citation. I think it was a Cavalier. Yes. Carbureted, no fuel injection until much later. That's what I was thinking, because most of the citations I can think of were carbureted. Yeah, my friend Freckle, he had I think it was a Cavalier Type 10, but it was the same body style. It had that long hatchback window in it. I want to say it was a Cavalier Type 10. Oh, yeah. GLH Omni Turbo. Yes. GLH goes like hell. GLHS goes like hell. Some more. That's what it stands for. Even the regular citations had the 2.8 liter 4-speed, not the high output, though. A 4-door citation was a V6 with a 4-speed, too. Man, that you had to be like king of the road with that. That little, I don't know, something's different about that front something's different about that front drive 2.8 versus the rear drive 2.8. I don't think we ever got a 2.8 front drive in carbureted. I think they were all fuel injected. I could be wrong. At least I'll put it to you this way. All the ones that I seen. X11 V6. Had a Buick Regal with a 3.8, best engine ever. You ain't lying there. That is a great engine. Well, the GM 3.8 is a lot like the GM 350. It was a good engine, designed well to begin with, and they just kept taking the old dog and teaching it some new tricks. And they kept refining it and refining it and refining it and making it better. I mean, they took a 350 Chevy, they took a small block Chevy, and then from the 50s, and they just kept refining it and refining it and refining it. And right towards the end, just before LS program, I mean, a 350 Chevy was great. It breathed better, it had better ignition, it made better power for a stock engine. And same thing with the 3.8 V6 is that was a Buick engine to Buick? Yes, that was a Buick V6 to begin with. And then they just kept teaching an old dog new tricks. Because I remember my friend had oh God, what was that? I remember those engines in G bodies. My friend's 80 Firebird F body had a 3.8 V6, a carbureted 3.8 V6. My friend 6% recycled his 350 is not bulletproof, but 350 is a good engine. The 4.3 is a decent engine too. Your Buick was an 81. Yup. Yeah, and they just kept making it better, but it evolved. And I mean, it went from the rear wheel drive version to a front wheel drive version. And then, of course, they had the rear wheel drive version. One of them went on to become the legendary, Grand National engine. And then the same architecture was used to make the 4.1 Cadillac. Now, there's two 4.1 Cadillacs. There's a 4.1 V8, then there's the 4.1 V6. Now, the 4.1 V6, there's a lot of guys who are Grand National guys. They want to find the 4.1 V6s because that's a bigger block, more displacement, and then they can take that and build a bigger engine for their Grand National for more displacement if they really, really need more cubes and want to make more chooch and still keep it a six-cylinder. And there's here in Grand Rapids, there is ZZP Performance, Grand Rapids, Michigan. There's ZZP Performance, and they're like the premier people for 3.8 GM. And they've got all sorts of different pulleys, and they make headers and all sorts of neato stuff. They can make a 3.8 supercharged engine sing. They make them little beasts. Eugenio says my 81, I assume that's Buick, had the somewhat body style of the Grand National. Oh, you had a Buick T-Type. Yes, it was a G body. Yeah, it was a G body. Yeah, that's all the same car body, whether it be a Grand National or it's a Buick T-Type or it's an old Cutlass or it's a Monte Carlo or it's a Grand Prix. It's the same car. It's the same car body. It's the same lady in almost the same dress. She just has different earrings and jewelry and stuff like that. Yeah. .1, 252 cubic inches. Yeah, and then they could build them and bore them on top of that to really start getting some serious cubes out of them. Mean Street Mopar says I should have the money soon to get my W2 heads out of machine shop purgatory, plus all the other parts I need to get the 318 put together. Nice. Mexican Spec saying when the turbo was originally put on the 3.8 V6, nobody wanted them. We couldn't give them away on the used car lot at the Chevy dealer. The Grand National changed that. Yes, it did. Oh, hi, Vintage Adventure Drives. Hi, Tanner. Thank you for stopping in and saying hi. You were right there. You get away from the border area. Yup. Eating a Carolina Reaper tomorrow. I feel bad for your backside. Thoughts on about the Pinto? I don't really. They're not totally my thing, but I mean they're great little cars. There's a guy in my area. I should run into him and see if he would let me do a feature on his cars. His nickname is literally Pinto Bill, and Pinto Bill has a metric F ton of Ford Pintos and Mercury Bobcats. That's his love, is those little bitty cars, and he bought them back in the day when nobody really wanted them. And yeah, I'll bet you he's got dozens of them. It's in the summertime when he pulls out his nice stuff, he's always driving a different Pinto. He has this fire engine red one that's just unbelievably nice. And I think he has a tan Mercury Bobcat. That's a two-door. That's like little old lady car nice. It's like mint. Buddy Ingersoll was whooping the Mountain Dew Pro stocks with a short time with the Buick V6 was yes. Oh, that was so cool when those big ass really chooched up V6s were doing battle against the big 700 inchers. in that class. It was amazing. Great cars could blow up. Yep. Vintage Adventure Drives Tanner is quite the musician. He brought his bass acoustic guitar down to No Name Nationals and was tearing that thing up. Oh, Max is making a big run this weekend. That means they're making money. Yeah, Tanner showed that nice shift knob that he made for his 5-speed swap, and I quoted the old C.W. McCall song, and I called it his chromium plated, fully illuminated accessory shift knob. Now that the Grand Nationals are popular, yeah, people want to rewrite. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll agree. I'll agree. Oh, because they're rare. Thoughts about Audi? Germans don't. Audis. Audis are good. The Germans don't make crap. So, I like German stuff except BMW cars. BMW motorcycles are awesome. Longest ownership, most miles covered, BMW motorcycles. I don't care for the BMW cars. I like Mercedes Benz. I like Volkswagen. Audis are ritzier Volkswagens, and Audis are okay, but they they have a they're a lot more technological, and they have their problems. But I drove an Audi. I had a 4000. The 2.0 direct injection is a problem. The last Audi I owned was an 84 4000S, and that thing had, I want to say it had a Bosch Jetronic fuel injection system on it. So good Audis are great and the bad ones are horrible. Yeah. Yeah. Um I wish that my Audi was a Quattro. I really do wish I had a Quattro. Just because I thought the four-wheel drive systems on those things were cool. Um Dusty the Redneck, he had a he had an Audi with a small V8 in it, and it was Hemi headed and had coil on plug, and it had timing chains though that were on the back side of the engine. They ran the cams. It was a single overhead cam engine, but they ran off of the backside of the engine between the transmission and the block. So if you had to go in and change tensioners or a chain or anything like that, you had to get waist deep in the flipping engine to do it. And it was just like, why? Yeah, nightmare to change. Eugenio put it right on the head. Terrible. There was a guy that I knew. His father was a GM executive, and he bought a Grand National GNX. He bought a McLaren GNX, new back in the heyday, and he bought it new from the local dealership, and he asked them not to prep it. So the plastic was still on the seats. It still had everything on the car that it came off of the trailer. The no dealer prep. And the only miles that his dad put on that car was lighting it up from the dealership and driving it to his house. And then he put that thing away. And then fast forward, his dad had passed on in 2002 or 2001, and he was left everything, including the GNX. and he sold the GNX to a guy in Ohio. He took it, he drove it. I only seen the car twice. Once was when he took me in the barn and showed it to me, and the second time was he stopped by my house to say hi to me because he was passing through going to Ohio to deliver the car. So I only seen that car twice. They went on vacation too because he was going to make a boatload of money. I don't know how much he got paid for it, but I'm sure that car with next to nothing for miles on it, I'm sure that GNX was worth a few bucks even in the early 2000s. Today it's probably worth double that. Double whatever he got for it. But yeah, that was a brand new car. There's a brown Audi in my spot and I want it towed immediately. That's funny because my old Audi was brown. It was like a golden brown, like it had a gold metal flake look to it. I love the color of that car. My car was just an old rusty pile. I bought it for $500. I had wrecked I had a Dodge Shadow. I had an 84. Yeah, 84 Dodge Shadow. It was white with a red interior. It wasn't an ES model. It didn't have a turbo. It had a 2.2 in it, automatic, but non-overdrive, non-turbo, which is kind of a rare car because a lot of them came with at least the overdrive. And had like rear window defroster and air conditioning. That was probably the only. Oh, and it had cruise control. That was it for the options. I wrecked that car. Best Japanese car maker, Toyota. Period. Toyota. The worst crash I've ever seen. I don't even want to talk about it, Braden. It's that bad. I don't even want to talk about the worst crash I've ever seen. It's not even worth talking about. It's I'm a Honda motorcycle man. I'm all about the Honda motorcycles. Look at it this way. Honda makes everything but a snowmobile. I don't even think they make a snowmobile, but Honda makes lawnmowers, motorcycles, generators, small engines, cars, motorcycles, quads. I think they make watercraft. They make outboard engines. Honda outboard engines are pretty damn good. Wanted a Daytona front wheel drive with the VNT engine. Yeah. Yep, generators. What was that? Salvage auctions in the 90s. Some of those were bad. You could see who wasn't wearing their seat belts. Vipers broke in half. Yes. Honda made jet aircraft too. Cool. Thank you, Buff Del Campo. I learned something today. You see it? I just got a little wrinkle in my brain thanks to the Bufferoni. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about the worst car accident I've seen. It was bad. Honda 4 cylinders with turbos can make over 1,000 horsepower when outfitted correctly. I mean, seriously speaking, though, anything can be made fast if you've got the pocketbook to do it. Look up the Honda Jet. Lone Wrench, what's happening? Hi, good to see you. Look up a Honda Jet. Okay. If I wasn't busy with y'all, I would. Early variable turbo. The last Daytona 4-banger had a big turbo. I only seen one ever in person. Oh, cool. Always liked the looks of the front drive Daytona. It had that real sleek hatchback look to it that I really liked, but it never really came unless that rare engine that you're talking about. Excuse me, all the ones I've seen, they never had the pizzazz. Even the Daytona Z, back when everything had to have a Z car. But I always liked the looks of the Daytona Z. the dash on a Daytona Z was like curved like this, and it stuck way out towards the driver. And then because of how the far the dash stuck out, they had this little itty bitty, teeny tiny, so fragile. I know people busted the living tar out of them. This little itty bitty turn signal that was on the outside of this big dash cover, and it was only like 2.5 inches long, and it kind of dog legged towards you. You know, people busted the living tar out of that thing. Turbo Tom's here. Hi, Turbo Tom. 1987, January 2nd. I ordered an 87 Dodge Shadow, 4-door, Twilight Blue, 2.2-liter turbo, no cruise control because tilt wheel was a problem. Okay. Cool looking car, but not reliable. Okay. The 2.2 non-turbo that was in my Shadow for the while that I drove it was actually a pretty reliable car. Wasn't winning any, wasn't breaking any speed records, but it got me around. What really sucks is when you have a turbo let loose and then it dusts your engine or it barfs its parts into the engine. I've seen that too many times. I couldn't believe it. I seen uh oh, what was that? Coronado Freightliner? No. Yeah, Freightliner Coronado. I think it was a Freightliner. Anyways, semi truck that had a twin turbo setup where it had a little turbo that was blowing into the big turbo to make the big turbo spool faster. Well, the little turbo died, and then so all it had was the big turbo, and so the thing would come on. It would take a long time for it to hit RPM for finally for the big turbo to come under boost. But I think they drove that thing for 2 years with the busted small turbo and it never kicked parts into the engine or took out the big turbo or took out the engine altogether. And finally, they scraped it together the money. And Miami GP, I didn't know about the Miami GP to be honest with you. The Miami Grand Prix, Daytona Pacifica. Yep, GLH Shelby Daytona. Always like the Shelby paint jobs, the blue and the silver, or the black and the gray. Yeah, they always those K cars got a good look with old Carroll Shelby. Ooh, 87 Sunbird SE Coupe with a 5-speed. That was a good car. That was a good car. Um, for 2 or 3 years, we actually had a Grand Prix circuit running in downtown Grand Rapids. It was the Grand Rapids Grand Prix, and you know where I was all 2 or 3 years. I think it was only 2 years, but both years we went downtown to check that out and put up with it. Was a zoo, but it was worth it. The day that we went, the second year, there was a bunch of it was all late model cars like 911 Porsches and stuff like that. We the first year I actually got to see the open wheel cars ripping through. What generation of NASCAR do I like? The 70s. Or probably I'd say generation of NASCAR, I'd say probably 1980, 1990 and backwards. I especially like the 60s, the 60s NASCAR. Back when it still was, win on Sunday, sell them on Monday. Do you know that you can take a Pontiac Solstice and bolt a blessed LS engine in that thing? That thing's got to be a riot. Imagine that thing with an LS engine and a 6-speed in it. That thing would be fun as crap. My opinion about Stellantis going down the drain. I'm not surprised because Stellantis is Fiat, and Fiat stands for fix it again, Tony. And the Fiats always have been sporty little cars, nimble little cars that would get right out and scoot, but they never had the longevity, and they were always problematic. And now that you've got Fiat trying to weigh in and going against everything that all the good foundation that Chrysler has made. I kind of liked it when Daimler got in on the Chrysler because then you had good German engineering along with the good Chrysler engineering. But yeah, I don't know. The only reason why I think Stellantis has a hope is because of the old Chrysler engineering. That's because all their cars, like, notice that you're not seeing Fiats any 500s anymore. There's a reason for that. They're still trash. Now I'm sure I'm probably stepping on the one person's toe who still likes his little Fiat, but they've never been that great. They all suck. I hate the new Dodges, and I'm a Mopar guy. I really do not like the current generation of Charger with the 6-pack engine because they're taking a 3-liter engine and then they're turboing the living bejesus out of it, and they're taking something that's 100 and something cubic inch, and they're somehow making these things produce on the high end like 650 horsepower with twin turbos. And then so I mean, it's impressive that little of an engine is producing those kind of power levels, but whatever happened to a horsepower per cubic inch for a reliable engine? I mean, I think they've pushed beyond the 2-3 horsepower per cubic inch rule. And then the other thing I don't like about the uh faking all technologies. Good one, old Mac. I like it. Um the other thing I don't like about that 6-pack engine is the fact that they integrated the turbo housings into the head. So the turbo housing in the head is all one piece. And we all know what happens with turbos. Turbos start to eject parts, and then they gobble up their housings, and you have to replace the turbo or rebuild the turbo. So that means when that thing gobbles up a turbo or ejects the parts into the engine, you've got to replace the engine, or you got to replace the whole blessed head, which I'm sure that's going to be just real cheap, and easy to replace. That's the kind of engine to where I wouldn't want to own it after it's outside of its warranty period. I have a hard time talking trash about a Cummins though, old Mac. I really like Cummins. The 3-liter with the twin turbo has spray on cylinder walls. Is it an aluminum block with an aluminum wall and they spray on the cylinder wall? I would think Uncle Tony touched base on that a little bit, Turbo Tom. Yeah, I think Uncle Tony was talking about that spray. Yeah, once again, yes. Son of a biscuit. Yeah, aluminum cylinder walls. Let's revisit the Vega, shall we? Yeah, aluminum block, that'll be fine. Let's throw a cast iron head on the top of that aluminum block too. Oh, gonna mute you for a second. Oh yeah. Well, people don't know what they don't know anyway. Yeah, turbos are, well, not to mention, like, I've also noticed, like, when people shut stuff down, like I've seen people rev the snot out of something and then like it's still winding down and it's probably halfway done winding down and they turn the vehicle off. Why? Why would you do that? And one of the things I always always never understood, people who aren't car people, then they always like, oh yeah, I just bought this. Check it out. It runs really good. And they got to reach in there and grab the throttle and rev the thing to the moon. And you're like, why? Yeah, see, it runs great. Yeah, the radiator was the size of a heater core. You should let them cool down before shutting them off. And oh, it has the after run cooling system. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, where you've got where the fans still blow even after you've turned the, well, that's the after run cooling system's actually a smart idea because Twisted Mopar Dennis, what's happening? Good evening. Yeah, because a lot of times you'll have a temperature spike with if your engine's even if you're letting it run normally and you just turn it off, when you walk away, there will be a temperature spike because usually the water pump stops moving and then you will have a temperature spike. And then so like Lady Dougster's Triumph motorcycle, that'll blow. The electric fan will blow even after you shut the bike off, pull the key out of the ignition, and for a little bit, the electric pump still runs too. That's great. That's great. Let them cool so the oil doesn't coke up the turbo. Yes. 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 I've seen turbo shafts that you could play like a joystick. I've also seen them to where um they're tight this way pivotally, like you can hardly move them up and down or left and right at all, but you can shove it in and pull it out. Oh, thanks, Eugenio. It's a 5 psi system by itself. 5 psi cooling system, I take it, is what you're saying, Tom? Yeah, I've seen the turbos that have bad end play, but it's just end play in and out, but everything else is good. And yeah. Yep, okay. That's interesting. It's only a 5 psi system. Really cool that it's really cool that it's got the after run system. That'll help. I have a for small block Mopar. I think for a Magnum. I think it'll fit all of them though. But it was built. It was ordered for a Magnum engine, late '90s Magnum engine. I've got a brand new Proform electric water pump that a friend of mine sold me. So if anyone's interested in an electric water pump, brandy new. It's a Proform though, but I'll make you a deal on one. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know much about those new Daytonas or the new Chargers, but I haven't heard anything real impressive. But Tom right now would be our foremost authority, seeming that he's our certified Chrysler technician. Thoughts about wet timing belt? Like lubricate, like a rubber belt that runs in oil. Um, I don't want to see timing belts at all. I think timing belts are stupid. I've seen so many shredded timing belts. Timing chains are the way to go. Yeah, I don't care for anything in the belt department. Lube or dry. Um, I'd rather see chains. Chains last longer. Chains do stretch, but they're less likely to flat out break and fail like the belts do. And heat doesn't make them check and fall apart and delaminate and stuff like that. I mean, steel timing chains have their own issues themselves, but they're a lot more reliable to a certain extent than timing belts, like the 4.7 Chrysler single overhead cam engine. They put timing chains in that thing that run from here to the moon and back. Some of the Fords had them too. Turbo Tom says the new Cherokee hybrid is like a Honda Civic. Yeah. Yeah, you always find older 4.7 Chryslers with timing issues because the Dusty says I'm. Yeah, you see, or well, like Dusty, like a belt on a. Yes, yes, Dusty. I was just going to talk about that. Dusty had was working on the 5.4 the Ford 5.4 3 valve. Yeah, he got one and he kicked the old dinosaur in the butt, got it to run for a while longer, and then it went off to a mutual friend of ours, and he drove it for quite a while, and then it fell down, and then Dusty kicked that old dinosaur in the butt again, and then it fell down catastrophically for the third time, and find even it's pretty bad when Dusty, who's a tenacious man, finally throws his hands up in the air. Yeah, interference. Yeah, you're right, Eugenio. If you do let if you do let a timing belt go, at least have it on a non-interference engine because that sucks. I think that engine that Dusty was just talking about. Dusty, wasn't that the one that ate a valve and kicked the valve head over through the intake over to the other cylinder bank? I think it was. It was crazy. The new 1.6 liter is numbered backwards from back to front. So number one cylinder's in the back instead of the... That's strange. Sad thing of all is I don't think there's anything that's really great these days. I don't think we're going to see anything like the old Ford 300 inline six that was practically. I really like water pumps inside the timing cover. Yeah, me too. Or how about the Cadillac North Star, where you got to pull the intake manifold to change the stupid starter because they thought that they could run it on the inside of the V of the engine. Yeah, that was the original. Yep, he got it to run, but it had other ingestion issues. I replaced the and bulletproof. That's how. Oh yeah, that's how Dan got so long. Yeah, he bulletproofed it, and it still didn't last all that long. Oh, that's right. You did put another engine in and bulletproofed it. It when other than the tailgate was a little, it had some rust issues on it, but overall it was a good looking truck still. I mean, at least at Michigan standards, it was still a good looking truck with a little rust on it, but it gobbled its engine. And Dan, our friend Dan, had driven it for quite a while, just doing his daily driving stuff. My Acura had a timing belt failure. It was a GRS red line 9200. Luckily, I was idling at a red light. Not hard. Not okay. Not hard. Just replaced the belt. One of my coworkers bought a Honda Goldwing. It was our early 80s Honda Goldwing. And I just had told him like 2 weeks before, I'm like, replace the timing belts on your Goldwing because those got timing belts on them and they're dry. And I go, that's not an interference engine. If you break a belt, it's going to break your engine. And he was tacking on it one night and one of the timing belts let loose. And she was done. In other news, I bought the old red T-Bird back that Richard drove. It's gotten rusty, but it's still kicking. Oh, the one that Dale had. Yeah. Man, that red Thunderbird, that Thunderbird's been like a bad penny. It's been passed. That car's been passed around like a joint at a party, man. Yeah, that thing always did run pretty good. 3.6 Durango Grand Cherokee must remove left engine mount to remove the starter. Oh, great. My nephew has a Friday was the 100th anniversary of the 2-day weekend, invented by Henry Ford. Wow, Bruce, that's awesome. My nephew has a 13 Durango with the 3.6 in it. Must remove the left engine mount to remove the starter. Okay, great. Well, I guess I know what I'll have to do someday. Back in the day with Henry Ford, he was having an issue. Thought about the 3.9 Chrysler engine. I don't have a lot. That's the Pentastar engine, if I'm not mistaken. And to be perfectly frank with you, Eugenio, I don't know much about them at all. So I really don't have an opinion. The only one I've worked on is my nephew's. And the most we did was just wipe out the throttle body on it. So that's it. I don't have hardly any work with that. I don't have hardly any knowledge of that. I haven't worked on them. Funny, Neverboard. Very funny. Neverboard, good seeing you, man. Good seeing you. Yep, it's a 318 missing 2 cylinders. Okay, so the 39, okay, the old 39 V6. Okay. What is the Tom, what's the Pentastar engine? I know it's a Hemi-headed engine. Gearhead was pretty cool. Yeah, it's the 318 missing 2 cylinders. Well, I mean, if that's the engine you're talking about in the 39, uh yeah, that's a great little engine. I mean, it's the 318's a great engine, so it's a 318 minus 2 cylinders. It's a great engine. 3.6 liters in everything. Okay. You're down close by me? Stop in, Frank. Got a cold beer for you. What kind of an engine would you put in a quad? It'd be the the Dakota's down by me. Gotcha. I understand now. So what kind of engine would I put in a quad? It would have to be the RD 350 engine, Yamaha RD 350 engine. Two-stroke, 2 cylinder. Another good example of taking something good and then just moving the football down the field, because it was a motorcycle engine, and then first it was an R5 engine, then it became the RD engine series, which RD stood for race developed, and then the RD 350 later became the RZ 350, and they were in street bikes that were yellow and black and fast as crap. And then they took that powerful, it was all starting to get in the 80s, it was already becoming a really powerful engine. And then, yes, exactly, Dan already knows what I'm talking about. And then it became the Banshee engine. And so you can take those things and just make those, you can stroke them, you can bore them, you can make them fire breathing dragons. All it takes is money. Oh, if I had to choose a truck for tractor pulling, what would you choose? If I was going to do tractor pull, or if I was going to use a truck for pulling, I don't know if I would run 2-wheel drive or if I'd run 4-wheel drive. For tractor pull, for pulling the sled. I'd probably run a 2-wheel drive pickup for pulling the sled, for just the sole fact that it would be cheaper, because 4-wheel drive, it can be expensive. And I like the looks of the 2-wheel drive truck pullers, because they put them on real long frame rails, so the engine becomes like a counterweight for them. And I don't think I'd go diesel for the puller. I think I'd have like a big old Keith Black Hemi in it or something like that, just single engine, something that's like 600 cubic inches or greater, and really laying down the old power, horsepowers. Unreal fire breathing money suction machine. Yes, the money into noise conversion machine. What performance car would you buy if money is not an issue? Um, Probably going to surprise you on this one. Because you're probably expecting me to say like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or a Bentley or a Veyron or something along those lines, but I like muscle cars, and it would probably be like a Catalina 2 plus 2, 421 Catalina 2 plus 2, aluminum inner fenders, dual quads, 4 speed, something that was really um, or I'd have like a 71 Hemi GTX. That'd be a pretty cool car. Um, probably a 71 Hemi GTX 4 speed. There's one I seen one just the other day that was in like a gunmetal gray and black. That was a Hemi GTX 4 speed car, and I was just like, I love the looks of the 71, 72 Roadrunner GTX body. Satellite. Cool car. Koenigsegg's would be cool. Maybe if I could wedge my fat butt into it, like the old Sledgehammer Corvette would be the old Callaway Sledgehammer Corvette would be pretty cool. That was a monster for the late 80s. Ah, I gotcha. Look, guys, it's the Catster. Say hi, Miles. Hi, everybody. Hello. He wants down. I'll let him down. I would love to customize a 1968 hearse hot rod like they did back in the day. The Up by Lake City, Michigan, when I drive up north to go to St. Ignace for the car show. By the way, last weekend in June, the weekend before the 4th of July, is a St. Ignace car show. And it is hands down the biggest car show that I've ever been to in my life. There are cars from across the nation that go there. And the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in the summer is beautiful. You will not be sorry to go up there. Well, anyways, when I drive out there, I go through Lake City, and there used to be an Oldsmobile hearse on the south side of Lake City that was done up as a hot rod. It had eights and tens on it. It had a rake. It had a cowl induction hood, and somebody had airbrushed really well on the sides of the cowl. And it was like a big 10-inch or greater cowl hood on it, and they had airbrushed on the side of the cowl hood the last ride. It was cool. It was way cool. Opinion on the Honda Prelude from the 90. I mean, Honda Prelude was a great little car. Honda never made crap. Um, I haven't read. I've seen the article, but I hadn't read it yet. Old Mac, yeah. I don't. What are they doing? Are they trying to make very what are they trying to do? Because Mackinac Island is just a tourist trap anyway. It's cool, but man, it's expensive to get a ferry out from St. Iggy or Mac City out to the island. It's always been expensive and big business. Big business. Yeah, St. Ignace, or I like to call it St. Iggy, is a cool historic town. If you ever are there, up there, check it out. It's way cool. You're right there on lakefront. It's a cool old town. A lot of history there. They've got a walking tour that you can take where you get a bunch of print offs, and then it's a bunch of old school pictures showing how things were in like the 1850s. And then you can kind of walk around and figure out where you are, and then kind of hold up the picture and go, "Oh, that's what that looks like. Oh, there's still something there," and it's neat to see. There's ship rudders all over the place because about an hour north of St. Ignace is Whitefish Point, and there's a lighthouse up there. And then they call that area of Lake Superior the ship graveyard because there's so many ships that have sunken in that corridor right off of Whitefish Point. You get out on Whitefish Point, it's actually pretty neat because it's like an island that sticks out like this, and you can walk out to the tip of it, and dead serious, you can stand out the tip of Whitefish Point and you look to your left and the beach curves to your right, or look to your right and beach curves to your right, look to your left, beach curves to, I mean, you're right on the tip of that. It's pretty neat. The old lighthouse is there, the old quarters is there, the shipwreck museum is there, and they have a prism for the old lighthouses in the shipwreck museum. And the last time we were up there, which was the early 2000s, it was $20 per person to go through the shipwreck museum. And they have a replica of the Edmund Fitzgerald bell on display. They don't show the original for fear that somebody might try to steal it, but they own it. They have the original, but it's put away for safekeeping. So the one you see is a replica. Opinion on the 2.2 Cavalier engine, the best for... That's actually, the 2.2 Cavalier engine is actually pretty good. And I think they did another 2.2 version in the S10s when they did away with the Iron Duke. They went from a 2.5 to a 2.2, and those are great engines too for 4 cylinders. Not going to break any speed records, but boy, they lived a good long time. My mother-in-law had an early 2000s Crapalier with a 2.2 in it, and that thing ran great. The transmission kept dying in it though. Oh, Mr. Dusty's saying, done in the shop for the night. Transmission and transfer case are bolted. I have a bolted in. Have a good night. You too, Dusty. Hey, Chester, what's happening? The engine never died. Yeah. See, here in the great state of Michigan, the engine, the body falls down first. Yeah, the Iron Dookie. I don't have anything bad to say about the old Iron Duke. Those actually were pretty good engines. Why General Motors and the Quad 4s had that weird cartridge oil filter idea, I'll never understand, but yeah, the old Quad 4 wasn't a bad engine. I'm from Connecticut, same problem. Yeah. Someday I like porcelain license plates, Eugenio, and these are porcelain license plates here, all the way here down over my, well, it's not, you see it as my right, but over my left shoulder here, and then the red and white ones, those are all porcelain plates from early Michigan, and I want to get all of the Connecticut porcelain plates. Never bored S10 saying ragged on the 97 2.2 S10 for years until the body fell off. Had a guy from Fremont that had put a turbo sticking out of the hood on his, would run 10s. Guy ran around with a parachute. I'm not surprised. I don't know what engine you're talking about, but the Chrysler Slant 6 was dependable. It sure was. Dutch, I'm telling you, you don't have to put on pants. You could run around nude and do the helicopter for all I care. We don't see it. They were talking about the 2.2 the 2.2 GM engine that they put in Cavaliers, and they put a rear-wheel drive version in the they put in the S10 also. But yes, the Slant 6 was very dependable. Slant 6 almost put Chrysler out of business. It was so good. Kev, what's happening? I had a 2.5 in my Sundance. Okay, the big four-cylinder with the balance shafts that never got any power adders either. I don't think the 2.5 ever got any power adders, and they had those weird balance shafts in the bottom end that counterbalanced everything. Yeah, 2.5 was a good engine. Popped a head gasket in under 3 years. That's crazy. Dutch will have to change his name to the Helicopter Man. 2.5 was available in turbo. I'm not surprised. I've never seen one. I'm not surprised. I'm not doubting you at all, Dutch. But I had never seen one. I only seen all the 2.5s I ever seen were naturally aspirated. Yep. Yeah, my mother-in-law's Cavalier, that thing ran every day, but it was the transmission that was dying. It just stall itself out. And you just put it in park and start it back up, drive it some more. Oh, I have seen one. You're right, I have. I guess I didn't realize what I was looking at, Dutch, because the 2.5 looks a lot like a 2.2. The red Daytona. Okay. Great new haircut. Oh, this is probably a month old, but thank you. To be fair, my buddy's Cavalier was a pizza car. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, when I worked for the pizza place, we had a Chevette with no passenger seat that we delivered pizzas in, and then they made a little wooden thing on the where the passenger seat was, so the pizzas would sit flat. Oh yeah. And the neighbor's 500, oh, the 600 you're seeing also was a 2.5 turbo. I never looked under the hood of that 600. That thing is cool, though. Oh, let me tell you something, Mean Gene. When my Hulkamaniacs are behind me, nothing can stop the power of Hulkamania, brother. I'm going to come off of the top rope, and I'm going to take that, Hulkster. What's up, Hulk? Hey, all right. What's happening, Lars? Good to see you. What's the worst American car ever made? The Vega. It's a Chevy Vega. That thing was junk the day it left the factory. Also have added more to our trip. Trailer and truck will be packed to the gills. My wallet, not so much. Dutch and I end of the month are gonna go to Ohio. Gonna go to Sandusky for some goodies. And I just mentioned it to Dutch today. Seeing that we're gonna be driving right past Toledo, we're gonna stop at Tony Paco's for lunch. Hell yeah. I'm excited. I've always wanted to eat at Tony Paco's. It's a hot dog, it's a Hungarian hot dog place. And it's like the pride of Toledo. I'm sure Kev will be weighing in on Paco's. Yeah, it's a non-sleeved block. Kev blew up a brand new Vega. I'm so surprised. One of the problems with the Vega was people didn't know how to take care of the Vega. it burned a lot of oil. And if you just kept the thing full of oil, it lived a lot longer. Not say that it was all that great, but um it would start to use oil and then it would go down low enough where it'd score the cylinders. And that's when all the problems really started for the Vega. That and the cast iron head, and then it had a radiator in it the size of a postage stamp. It was just General Motors was trying, but they just didn't. It just good thought needs more ideas. We're also taking home a 200-gallon Sailor Bel Air compressor from the 70s that runs. Same stop as the other stuff. Going to be able to really paint now. Awesome. The worst car was a Toyota Echo. It's hard to beat a Toyota in any flavor. Faith. Toyota makes great stuff. Oh, the Vega had 20 miles on it and it let loose. Wow, that's the lowest mileage one I've ever heard of letting loose. That is amazing. Should have had a cast iron block and aluminum head. D-Man, you're spitting facts, my guy. Can you take me to Sandusky so I can go to Cedar Point? Yeah, just meet me here at my house and I'll get you to see. We can get you there, but we'll drop you off. You got to find your way home. Please talk about the Chrysler Slant 6. The Chrysler Slant 6 was supposed to be an aluminum engine at first, and there are examples that you can find out there. 170 was the smallest displacement of the Chrysler Slant 6. And then there was a bean counter engine. It was like a 194, and then there was the 225. They made 170s in iron and 170s in aluminum, and Reynolds Aluminum helped help make the aluminum blocks for Chrysler. Then they realized that it was going to be a pricey endeavor because they needed a precision casted head for the aluminum engine for the aluminum Slant 6, and it ended up being just not in the cards. So they ended up scrapping the aluminum Slant 6 program and started doing an iron 170 Slant 6. Great engine. Great engine. Ooh, bad car ever made. The first generations of Kia that hits the States. It was like the early 2000s. I remember advertisements for Kia, like it was a Kia Sophia, they had some Kia SUV and a couple other cars, but you could get two Kia Sophias, which were like the four doors. You could get two Kias for for less than $14,000. I say like 13.5, I want to say. Two cars for 13.5. They were cheap. And they all came with 100,000-mile warranty. And people ran out and bought them in the droves because they were cheap. And I am dead serious. Those engines would die at like 107,000, 110,000, 104,000. I've seen some of them die at 88,000. And if they were under the 100,000 mark, the dealer would throw another engine at them. And if they were over, even if they were like 100,900 miles, out of warranty, not our problem. Those things literally lasted to the warranty. They were garbage. So at least today's Kias are built a lot better, other than the fact that everyone, their brother, can flick a booger at one and steal it. Rusty Jones would have flipped me off. Ah, that's funny. Me and Destroyer were talking about Rusty Jones the other day. Polaris don't make junk either. Polaris makes good stuff. I like Polaris. Always like Polaris snowmobiles. My friend in school had a brand new Yugo and drove for years as everything failed attached to it. Yep. Z-Bart, Rusty Jones, same thing, I think. Yeah, Z-Bart was so damn funny because like you'd go through I can take you to junkyards today and show you these absolute Titanic rusty heaps that have all the Z-Bart body plugs in them, and they have the Z-Bart stickers on them, and they're just rotted out. It never. What was the best Saturn? Oh, they all actually weren't. Some of them weren't that bad. Some of those Saturns were long livers. The would you ever catch me in a smart car? Faith, absolutely not. First off, you'd need a shoehorn to get me into a smart car, and then you need the jaws of life to get me out of a smart car. I would have to wear that car like a piece of clothing. Would you ever catch me in a Toyota Prius? I mean, I wouldn't own one, but I mean, if I had to drive one, sure, okay, I don't mind a Toyota. Priuses aren't my first choice in cars, but Toyota doesn't make junk. If I had to drive one, I would. Mohawk, hey, bud. When I lived at my parents', I saw a car hauler tear out the roofs of new trucks going over overpasses. Oh, my God. Smart cars are actually roomy, believe it or not. I've never sat in one, so I don't know. My friend Hubert's Projects had one for a while. Would you put a big block in a Chevy Spark? Absolutely. Big block Chrysler just to make the GM guys mad. They repaved I-94 and forgot to change the clearance level. That's funny. I remember my dad telling me about a place that they would deliver to that if you were loaded, you could drive in to the facility under the expressway bridge and you wouldn't have any issues driving in to the facility. But once they offloaded you, you couldn't drive out because once all the weight was taken off of the suspension of the truck, you sat too high and you'd hit the bridge. So what they would do is they would take a high-low or two and park them inside your trailer, and then you would go drive out of the facility under the expressway bridge, and then they had a ramp, a cement ramp on the other side that you'd back up to, and then the operators would be over there and they'd back the high-lows off there and then drive them back to the plant. So you wouldn't destroy your trailer with the bridge leaving that facility. True story. Spark, keep it away from a Pinto. That's funny. There's an electric 25 Charger for trade at the Chevy dealership. I told the wife when I'm back in town, I'm going to see about trading the last call Challenger in for it. Okay, cool. I wouldn't. But hey, to each their own. Faith. You mean the electric Charger, because I don't think they offer a Challenger in electric. So, no, I don't think I'd want one. simply because it's just such a problematic car. Do you see in Jersey a plane landing in Newark hit a delivery truck at the turnpike and a light pole? No, I didn't. That's crazy. To each their own. I don't want full electric. If we had to go down this rabbit hole, I don't want full electric. I want hybrid. I want to burn fuel. Gotta go, Eugenio. Nice seeing you. Take care. Stop in again sometime and hang out with us. I'll take the gas powered 2026 Charger. They look kind of neat. Bad enough relying on electric wheelchair. No way for a car. Yeah, I think Kev would be the foremost authority on EVs right now, wouldn't he? There's dash video of the delivery truck getting hit until the guy poops himself and it covers up the lens of the camera with poo, right? Because he said, "Oh shit." The landing gear went through the trailer. Holy wow. The only electric vehicle I like is RC. When I was a kid, I wanted a Tamiya lunchbox in the worst way. And as a kid, I had no idea what they costed. All I know is I wanted one. And I remember talking to Dad, and I said, "Hey, could I have one of those?" And I showed him it. I had no idea what they costed or anything. And Dad said, "Sure, we'll look into it." Yeah, okay, we can do that. They talked to all his buddies who played with those things, and they told him how expensive they are. And he comes over to me and he's like, "Oh, you thought you were slick. You thought you were going to get some big expensive toy out of me." And I'm like I knew. I had no idea. I'm just a kid. All I know is it looks cool and I wanted one. What would you guys do in a rental U-Haul? Hey, what's happening, New Guys Guitar Tom? Good to see you. Back in the day, funny story. Today you can't do this. People would buy, if they wanted heavy duty driveline parts for their Ford, they'd rent a U-Haul truck. And then, because it would have the 460 in it, and they'd bring it home and they'd start taking all the heavy duty parts off of the U-Haul truck and putting them onto their cars. And then putting all the light duty parts off the car onto the U-Haul truck and make sure it doesn't leak fluids and drives around and does everything it needs to do. Then turn it back in and get all those upgrades for the price of a U-Haul rental. Well, U-Haul got wise to that idea, and they actually mark all their parts today. And then many years later, Mustang guys were going and renting Ford Mustangs and from rental agencies and doing the same thing, pulling all the high performance parts off of those things and putting them on their cars and turning them back in. And of course, they got wise to that too. But it's funny how things change, but they never really, or how things stay the same even though things change. Old ideas resurface. Absolutely not. I will not drive. I've seen enough stuff of those Waymos. I will not take a driverless car. There are some states now that are actually making it a law to where those driverless cars can still get tickets. They used to rent Mustangs and race them at the track. Yes. Yes. We could probably do it again as bad as customer service is. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Colleen's got a point. Ma. Well, one guy I knew, he bought out a entire shop's inventory. He's big into old 50s cars, and he builds 50s style hot rods. And he bought a whole facility out, and he had the biggest roll door U-Haul truck. So it's like the Ford F-750 or whatever it is, diesel. And they had they had that thing packed to the gills, and they're trying to drive home. And I think the guy's from Pennsylvania, and I don't remember where he was coming from, but they had so many problems with the U-Haul truck coming home to the point where they're broke down yet again, and then service has to come out and save them, and they get the old girl propped back up and back out on the road they go. And then 4 or 5 miles down the road, and she's lit up like a Christmas tree and not running again. And once again, they're waiting hours and hours and hours for service to come, and then takes them hours and hours and hours to fix the blessed thing. Finally, they bring them another truck. They transfer all of the stuff out of the U-Haul into the second U-Haul, and then they get back out on the road. And I think they drove that like 35 or 40 miles, and that one started to act up, and it was just nightmare. It was just a nightmare. I should do a cheap car challenge with somebody. Shop Truck is my cheap car challenge. I'm not made of money. I'm trying to build a hot rod as cheaply as I can. Well, not cheaply. I'm trying to do the best I can do with what money that I have. Careful towing a trailer and a car. They've changed the law on how they classify. Yeah, gross vehicle weight. Yes. Well, as long as yeah, of course they've changed everything. Of course they have. And GAW, gross vehicle. Oh, GV, you mean GVW? Have a cheap car challenge at No Name where you have a budget set and you can't go over. Just seen Kiwi violating a Mustang, came here to try to forget it. It didn't happen, Barry. It didn't happen. Just never mind. Are the mosquitoes? I swear the mosquito in the summertime is a Michigan State bird. Kiwi's a pretty cool guy. If you're talking about um, ticks are way worse, Faith. A mosquito, even though some mosquitoes can make you sick, but not like a tick can, because ticks, there's the right ticks carry Lyme disease, and those ticks can kick your mother loving butt. The guy that I buy motorcycle parts for my Honda CBX, Lewis, he lives in Florida, and he got bit by two little itty bitty ticks, and he got Lyme disease, and he was sick for a little over a year. And for most of that time, he was sleeping 20 hours a day. Like the only times that he was getting up out of bed was to like use the bathroom, eat something, if he even had the stomach to eat something. Most of the time he was force feeding himself because he knew he had to eat, and he was going right back to bed. He was sleeping like 18 to 20 hours a day. Well, Lewis had a full recovery, but he was very, very sick for a long time. And then once he got well, then he had to rebuild, like build himself back up because he lost a lot of muscle mass and stuff like that. It was bad. It kicked his butt, but he came out on the other side. I've heard of that one, Old Mac, and that sucks. I am a professional tick hunter. All right. Ticks are scary little sons of guns. Might have to make 2 trips to Ohio. Just bought another car. Jeez, Dodge. Are you part drunken sailor with your money now, or what? One of my favorite ways to do, like if I get a dog with a tick, what I like to do is take the tick. We'll say my hand represents the tick, and this is the skin. You take Mr. Tick, and then I fold him up very carefully. And I stand him up, and then I take my pot, leaving because he's meant to be pulled, and then you leave. His head is meant to detach from his body, and that's what gives you the most problems. But if you take Mr. Tick and you make him do a little headstand, and I take my pocket knife and I slit him from his throat to his rectum, and then I'll carefully, without pulling him out, I'll squeeze his innards out, and then I'll just fold him back down and leave him there. As long as his body is connected to his head, the whole thing will die. But if you pull the tick off and his head stays behind, that's what's going to give you the most problems. T-Top 360 Roadrunners don't grow on trees. This is true. Dan and I had to check each other for ticks last night after mowing. Of course you did. Tracy wore her fancy pajamas. I bought another car today. 55 Ford panel truck. But it's in 125th scale. Those are a lot easier to handle, though, Chester. My neighbor has loose chickens that come into my backyard. They eat all of them now. Haven't seen a tick in over a year now. All in the name of health. That's right. That's right. The things we do. Yes. Got to check each other for ticks. Yeah. Like Lady Dougster wanted to have a chicken coop here, and we're landlocked. Like we don't have access to any woods, and it's on other properties and stuff. Well, years ago, we had a neighbor that had bought a piece of property, and then he was dumping stuff on it, wood waste on it. And then so everyone he got in trouble for dumping all that stuff. And Lady Dougster, well, she wanted a chicken coop. And I'm like, okay, what are we going to do with the chicken poop? And she goes, dump it in the woods. And I go, those aren't our woods. And so-and-so just got in trouble for dumping stuff on it. So how are we going to look trying to dump the chicken poop on out there? Just being real. And then she really wanted a chicken coop. And I'm like, we just aren't set up to have it. Sorry. What night bug do you hate the worst that go up to lights. I mean, usually those are just moths. Moths are annoying more than anything. Moths ain't gonna do nothing to you except fly in your face and stuff like that. With my Coleman lanterns, they fly up to it and then the heat gets them. Mohawk says, I'm feeling great. Thanks for asking. Put out a video tonight. I was fighting with a tire plug. My favorite tire plugs are the plug patch that look like a little witch's hat. Those are the crap, man. Those things are awesome. But the gummy worm patches, only if I need to like get my stuff home, will I use a gummy worm patch, but that's not a permanent fix. That's just to get it home. And I always hate if I have gummy worm patches or the gummy worm plugs, and you always have to have a tube of rubber cement, because if you buy a tube of rubber cement, whenever you go back to use it again, the rubber cement is all dried up. What street bike would you want? I have all the street bikes no, there's a couple street bikes that I want, but for the most part, I'm happy with what I have for street bikes. I have my dad's 72 CB750 that he had before he was married to my mom. So my parents in June will be married 49 years. And that CB750 that I owned, my dad had before he was married to my mom. I think he owned it before he was dating my mom. So it's been a long time in our family. And the bike, I restored it and I rode it, and she's still just as good looking bike as ever. So that's one of my favorite motorcycles. After my dad retired from riding, I bought his 97 Honda Valkyrie, and that is my daily driver motorcycle, which I'm going to get ready to start pulling her out here real soon now that it's May. I need to ride. And then I have one of my dream motorcycles, 79 Honda CBX, that's in mid-restoration. And then Shop Truck jumped in front of that, so I have to finish that motorcycle. I've got all the... so other than, like, the only other motorcycles I really want, I want a first generation Goldwing, but not the Honda Bago. I don't want one with the bags and the fairings and all the stuff. I want it like it was supposed to be, the stripped down sport bike. That was supposed to be a sport bike. That's what I want. I want a black and gold first generation Goldwing, or the U of M colors one. There's one that's yellow with blue, and it's literally U of M colors. It's yellow and blue, and a little Wolverine. So yeah, like a 75 Goldwing. And then I would like... Am I into dirt bikes too? Yes, but I want old dirt bikes, like steel tank dirt bikes. I don't have any dirt bikes right now, but if I were to have a dirt bike, it would be like a 78 or a 79 Honda XL500. That's what I want, in gray, the gray one. I'm a big fan of the Honda XL series. What else in the road bikes department would I want? I want a Kawasaki KZ 1300. I think those are pretty cool bikes. And I think that would look cool alongside, because my Valkyrie is a 6-cylinder, my CBX is a 6-cylinder, and so I think the 6-cylinder Kawasaki KZ 1300 would look cool alongside the other 6 cylinders. I have a 98. Oh, yeah. Those letters tell me Harley. Yep, Springer Softail. Hopefully, after surgery, I can ride again. I hope you can ride again too, Chester. I love riding. I love riding my motorcycle. Especially with gas prices the way they are right now. My motorcycle gets double the mileage of my pickup, and it's a lot more fun to drive. So $20 goes a lot further on my motorcycle than it does my truck. Guy in my town rides around on a showroom condition 79 XL 500. Oh, that's the bike I want. The metal tank, it's gray, metal tank. Yeah, that's the bike I want. If I was to have a dirt bike, it would be the XL 500. At the very least an XL 250, but I'd rather have the XL 500. Yeah, I love motorcycles. Harley is the only vehicle I bought brand new. Of course, it has drag pipes on it. Oh, yeah, that's like standard for a Harley. This one is red. Does it have a steel tank on it? That could have the plastic tank on it. Maybe they offered it in more colors than the gray. They might have. It's not an El Senor. No, I don't think they made an El Senor in a 500. I think those are 250s. Still a cool bike. I like the XL series. Wendy. Hi, Wendy. Good to see you. Yeah. Those bikes get really good mileage and they're fun to ride. And yeah, I like Hondas. I am definitely a Honda man. The hell is that? Ruby, what are you doing? Oh, that could be the ice maker on our new fridge. That was the ice maker, I heard, because it's just filling up the ice tray. You've never seen a gray one. Okay. Yeah, they made them in like a silvery gray. Definitely a 79 XL 500 with steel tank. Okay, cool. I'm sure they made them. I'm just usually the ones I've seen are all with gray. That's pretty cool. Strange new noises in the house. Yes, Colleen. Well, we got a brand new fridge, like I was telling you, and I think it's 24. It's just a little over 24 hours old here in the house. I want to see how to lose a lot of money. Starting in 2008, I invested about $23,000 into my 2000 Harley Softail. Bottom fell out, and I could only get $5,000 for it 6 months ago, but I had fun with it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, also in 2008, it was that was still when you had every Harleys were in demand and they were still with the waiting list, and that's why everyone's like, I have a Harley Davidson. I mean, people always were that, but when it became hard to get, that's when it became prestigious. And because of the waiting lists of the 90s and stuff like that. and everyone for the longest time they had a Harley, and it was worth big money. That's terrible. What's really interesting is I've seen it is a guy will have a Harley, and he'll have you know drag pipes and screaming eagle this and go fast that and custom this and custom that and better grips, better handlebar risers, better seat, better backrest, and all this stuff. And then if they trade it into the dealer, then and they get themselves a new bike, and then they of course they spend mucho money on accessories for that. Well, what the dealer does is they take that bike and then they make sure to pull all of the performance parts off of it and put it back to as stock as they can, because they want that guy to come in and buy it, and then they want to sell them performance parts for it. And then they might even be selling them we got some used stuff here, that we took off of another bike, that bike that you have, and then for an extra blah 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 on service and everything, we'll make it happen for you. I'm in Zealand. There were different colors. Oh, Barry, I keep forgetting that you live in New Zealand. Barry, I keep forgetting. Yes, there's different colors between the Americas ones, and yes. Barry, I keep forgetting that you're a Kiwi. My bike took 2 years to get. Yeah, I knew of guys that were purposely signing up on the Harley waiting lists to wait their time and be close to getting the bike, and then just selling their spots in line to people who are willing to the highest bidder. Hey, I'm supposed to get one in June, buy me out, and then let 3 guys start a bidding war. So that way they can be the first in town to get that Harley. What are you doing, Ruby? Hi, honey. Say hi to everyone, Ruby. Ruby. It's my dog, Ruby, with my friend Toby on it, because he only weighs 125 pounds. We got into the 7s and the 8th. Like I said, I had fun with it. Wow, that's pretty fast. For example, a 78 Yamaha YZ250 in white, not yellow as they were in America. Yes. They were all yellow here, yellow and black. Yes. Some Yamahas were white, but they weren't the YZ250 wasn't white, it was yellow, but there was other Yamahas that got like a Yamaha. Was it the Yamaha MX100? Yeah, the MX100 was white, but that wasn't. That makes perfect sense, Barry. I don't know why I keep. Oh, the YZ in yellow look pretty cool. YZ250. We were all kids riding our dirt bikes around, and we had this old rail line that used to run between 2 major cities, and it ran north and south. And then it became, after the rail line went away in like the 30s or the 40s, it was eventually bought by a power company, and they used it as a service road to service the power line. And us kids would ride our dirt bikes up and down these old rail beds, and there was no rail lines there anymore. It was just a 2-track, but we'd ride them up and down these old rail beds, and of course it would cross over roads and stuff, and we'd ride down to the end of this one dirt road. So you'd get off the rail bed and turn right and take it all the way down, and it butted up against an expressway. and we'd ride to the dead end and sit there and watch the cars go by. Now, where we're at, it's probably 3/4 of a mile of flat road, dirt road. Then it would go up to a slight grade. You'd cross over a railroad track, and then you'd go back down the hill, and then you would ascend not a steep grade, but a pretty decent hill that went up, and you were probably grand total maybe from the dead end by the expressway to the pavement road was probably a little over 2 miles, I want to say. And this guy that we were hanging with, John, he said that he could wheelie his YZ250, that yellow YZ250, that's what he had. He said he could wheelie it to the end of the road. And he said he'd set the front tire down on the asphalt. We bet him that he couldn't do it. And he goes, let's do it. We all light up our motorcycles, and he popped that thing up into a wheelie, and he rode it all the way from the dead end of that road all the way up, and he put the front tire down on the asphalt, like over 2 miles. Longest wheelie I'd ever seen done at that time. Amazing. Funny, I thought of that right after you were talking about that YZ. Have a great night, everyone, says Mohawk. I need to get something to eat. I like my leftover Canadian bacon and sauerkraut pizza. Thanks for the live, Dougster. Not a problem there, Mohawk. Glad to see you. Take care. Yeah, John did it. I know a guy that can basically ride a motorcycle everywhere on the back tire. A friend of mine recently got a hold of an early 70s Honda SL350 twin-cylinder trail bike. Okay, my first motorcycle was an SL350 Honda 72. It was like dark red, and it had the wing outline in white pinstripe tape on the tank, and it had the chrome scrambler pipes that ran underneath my right leg. And it had a throaty sound to it, and it was a 350 twin. That was my first road bike. That was actually my first car. My first vehicle to get around wasn't actually a car. It was a motorcycle, a 72 CL 350 or SL 350. No, CL. It was a CL 350. That was a cool little bike. Then I rode after that a Suzuki, early 80s Suzuki GS 550 that my mom let me use. That was my mom's Honda that I got to use. Then she let me ride her GS 550. And then I didn't have a motorcycle again until the 2010s. I couldn't afford a motorcycle. A road bike, that was. Had dirt bikes from time to time. Bedtime. Have a great week, says Colleen Tebow. Bye, Colleen. Good to see you. Take care. See you next week. Dirt bikes were always cheap and fun, so it was always easy to have one of those around. But most of the time, I was a broke idiot. For the longest time, I tried to buy the CB750 for my dad, the green bike that I have now. Dad wouldn't have it. He didn't want to sell it to me. He wanted to keep it. He's going to do something with it. And then one day, I don't know, I did some growing up, and then one day I'm like, what, I want to buy that bike, and he goes, I won't sell it to you. You can have it. I'll give it to you. And then I put it together, and I got it running again, and cleaned the carburetors, and put it forth all the work, and got it all up and going again. And yeah, I ended up when I got that motorcycle, when I stopped riding it because I bought the Valkyrie, I had literally doubled the mileage on the bike. It had like 14,000 or something like that, and I put 28,000 when I was done. I doubled the mileage on the bike. It was I daily drove it all summer long. And even though I love my Honda Valkyrie, I still miss my CB750. That's a great little bike. Yeah, that's it. Is Barry raises a good point. The differences between what was offered for New Zealand versus was offered for the States. The guy who sold the YZ2 seized the motor on his first time, forgot that it was needing premix, and he snapped the rear fender off. Yep. You know how many snowmobiles I've seen that got burned up because of not putting premix in it. They just think that it runs on regular gas. A lot. Or the old Yamahas that had the Yamalube, which was basically oil injection, so it mixed its own fuel on some of the Yamahas, and the 292 Yamaha snowmobiles had oil injection, and if you rode that thing religiously, and then all of a sudden it just had newfound power, like it out of the blue, this thing has like a third more power. That's because the oil injection pump died on it, and it's running on straight gas. And she'll be mean for a little while, and then she's going to die. And one time, twice, I had seen them die, and I had known the symptoms. And we were out on the trails, and all of a sudden, this guy's got a 292, and he's like, "This thing's just on fire today, man!" Like really, really beating feet for a change. And I'm like, "Shut it off." And he goes, "Why? We're a long ways from home." And I said, "Ride with me." I said, "That thing's broken. It's still running. Turn it off." And then we ended up finding one of our group who had some 2-cycle oil, and we dumped some 2-cycle oil into it and mixed it up. And then we limped once we figured out that the oil injection pump wasn't working. Yeah, we just threw some mix at it, and we got it home safely. But I only knew that because I had seen 2 others die from that. And it's actually pretty easy because all it is you've got this little pump that runs off of the engine, and all it does is just meter out oil, and it injects it into a little port by the carburetor. So as it runs, it just squirts a little oil in there. So we were able to run it real quick and pull that line off, and there was no oil coming out of it. Yeah, we're still on, at least for now, Kev. I wish I knew why YouTube always gives you crap, Kev. Do they just not like guys in wheelchairs? Is that it? If so, maybe you've got a lawsuit on your hands. They're discriminating against me. Do 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 do. Got the cops over here now. What'd you do, Kev? Are you a rebel without a clue? Yeah, what have you done now, Kev? YouTube hates me. YouTube swatted Kevin, smited him. YouTube smites Kevin. Yeah, end of the month, Kevin and Danster. We should be going down to Sandusky, and we're gonna stop in Toledo to Tony Paco's for hot dogs. I'm looking forward to that. Kev is legendary sensei model builder. Wow, that's why he has a big head. Oh, I see. He's the sensei, and YouTube recognizes that he's one of the best. I see. Smythe B. Smite B. Ha ha ha. Sensei model builder. Tony Paco's is amazing. I've been told that, and I am very happy to find out for myself. I'm looking forward to the trip. Just for Tony Paco's. Cool. Besides hot dogs, I looked up their menu today, and the chicken, what is it? Paprika. The chicken paprika looks to be pretty good. What else is good? I'm sure. What else is good at Tony Paco's? Up there in the Bellswood. And I'm going to make sure to go to the original actual Tony Paco's restaurant, because there's two. And I'm going to make sure to go to the original one. Inspector Bruce, straight from California. Al Paco's, home of the Woolly Burger. Okay. I lived about a block away from Tony Paco's years ago. That's cool. So when I'm at Tony Paco's, I'll know that I'm right in Kev's old neighborhood. That'd be cool. I think it's on Sylvania Avenue in Toledo. Okay. Yeah. Well, I was asked by Dutch Guy's Garage if I wanted to go with him to Sandusky, and I'm like, sure, I'll go. And then I got to thinking about it. I'm like, we're gonna drive right past Toledo on our way there. We're going to Tony Paco's. And I said, hey, you want to stop here for lunch? I heard it's great. And he's like, that sounds like a plan if I ever heard one. Sweet. He goes, I'm a fat guy. you know I like food. Sylvania and Willie's Parkway. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. My friend John Cope Racing Transmission. Yep, Corporal Klinger was from Toledo. And as a matter of fact, Jamie Farr is Corporal Klinger's is his actor name. And he really is from Toledo. And they let him go crazy on the whole Toledo thing because he really was from Toledo. And he's born and raised or not. I don't know if he was born there, but he was raised in Toledo. So, and that's the whole reason why. Oh, you met Jamie Farr a few times? That's cool, Kev. And I'll bet you he was just it. I can guarantee you he's probably the nicest guy. He always comes off as such a nice person. Yeah, Jamie Farr is from Toledo, and yeah, classy guy. At least from what I've seen, but then again, I've never met him. Great fella. That's awesome. That's awesome. He lived on LaGrange. I think that they made like the Jamie Farr's house that he lived in originally got tore down, and I think they made a park and called it Jamie Farr Park in honor of him. I'm sorry, but the two best hot dog joints in the nation and is are in Jersey, Callahan's, and Jimmy Buff's in Newark, Italian style hot dogs. I want to check them out. I want to check them out. It was a museum for years. Okay. I all for checking if I'm ever in Jersey to check out Callahan's and Jimmy Buff's in New York. Oh yeah. Um, my friend John Cope, he takes me to all sorts of great Chicago dog places whenever we're down together in Chicago, and I'm all for it. I love Chicago dogs. I have since the '80s when I was a little kid. Um, so I got to go to Portillo's. Yeah, Portillo's. Yes, I got to. I did. I have yet to have a Portillo's. Portillo's. It's Portillo's. I've yet to have a Portillo's Chicago dog, but I did have my first Italian beef, and that was pretty damn good. And then Cope suggested that I get the chocolate eclair cake, and man, was that good! Yeah, the Italian beef was really good. And now that I know, oh, LaGrange is ghetto now, they destroyed the area. That's too bad. Yeah, I've been to Portillo's once, and Cope has took me to Aurelio's. As a matter of fact, the first time I went down, before I even met Cope, I dropped the first potato got dropped off at Cope's shop on a Saturday, and then we went over and hit because he kept talking about Aurelio's Pizza, and we were nearby, and I said, "Let's see what this Aurelio's Pizza is about," and we stopped for. Oh yeah, the eclair cake is so good. That was good. Um, and I had Aurelio's Pizza, and it was just I haven't looked back. I think that's my favorite pizza. Here's how good Aurelio's Pizza is. Me and my friend, we stopped to one in I think it was LaPorte, Indiana. The closest one was in LaPorte. We stopped to um Aurelio's Pizza, and we had dinner there, and then I got a small pizza and brought it home 2 hours because we were 2 hours from home, and we drove 2 hours and we dropped it off to Dusty, who was in the chat tonight. Dusty and my friend Crazy Charlie, and we brought them a 2 hour cold pizza, and those guys practically annihilated um that pizza, and they were raving on how good it was. Barry Kuda asks, "How does John Cope make his own transmission parts?" Yes, yes, he does. He has his own branded transmission parts. He actually has stuff made specifically for him by his specifications. And do I have an email? Yes, I do, but I don't give it out. At least not yet. I'm thinking about firing up yet another email address. I want to keep my personal email separate from Wolverine Garage email. So Eventually, I'll have an email address to hand out, just not right now. Ketchup on a hot dog is a cardinal sin. Tracy is right. You put mustard on a hot dog. Cope's a pretty cool friend, guys. I'm here to tell you, he is a cool ass guy. That's what I did. I have a personal email and a YouTube channel email. Yeah, I've been thinking about looking into firing that up just to keep things separate. I mean, there are people here who have my email address, but I want to try to keep that as limited as possible. Super cool guy, knows transmissions like the back of his hand. He does. Well, he's been literally, guys, this is the only job that he's ever had. So he's in his 60s, and he's in his early 60s, and this is the only job that he's ever had, is doing automatic transmissions. So, I mean, I hope he knows what he's doing by now. I mean, he worked for his dad doing automatic transmissions, and then his dad ended up closing the shop, and I think he went on to work for a dealer for a long time, and then he branched out and finally started doing his own thing. Yeah, I've been in the parts room. I've been all over the CRT shop. Heck, I've slept there. Yeah. Yeah, Cope's shop is pretty cool. Bums always left their wine bottles on the front porch. Yep. Were you hoping they'd refill the bottles? uh, uh. I'm on the night train and I'm looking for stuff. I'm on the night train. Fill my cup. Night train, ready to crash and burn. Man, drinking wine. Man, guys, I found this great tasting stuff you should all drink. This is back when we're like 19, 18. Really? What is it? It's a stuff called Boone's Farm. Oh man, they've got all these great flavors and it tastes good. Really? And it's cheap. Really? Yeah. Yeah. MD 2020 and Thunderbird. Hey, don't forget your Wild Irish Rose. Does John Cope supply standard parts like for a stock torque flight? Yes, he does, Barry, but there's one problem for you being a Kiwi is shipping is going to hurt you something fierce. So be ready. Be ready. The shipping is going to be outrageous just because it's got to go, all the way from Illinois or Indiana, excuse me, to the land of the Kiwi. Yep, Mad Dog 2020 is made by Mogan David. That's what the MD stands for. MD was the standard when I was poor. It was one of those things where I never hardly, we drank a lot of the what is a Kiwi? Okay, Kev. The New Zealanders are called Kiwis in honor of the Kiwi bird. that is native to New Zealand. So that's what a kiwi is. Not the fruit, but the actual kiwi bird. So that's why New Zealanders are called kiwis. I hardly ever drank the MD 2020, to be honest with you. I thought it was the fruit. No, it's after the kiwi bird. Oh, yeah, dear bud. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we would drink like the Boone's Farm Strawberry Hill or the Melon Ball or the you've never even seen a kiwi bird. Really? Interesting. And that's coming from a New Zealander. Um so one day I stopped to the local party store and they had bottles of um Mad Dog there. Oh, the old Schnapster. Oh yeah, the old peppermint. Or get the super schnapps. That's 101. Apple pucker. I was that would get the apple pucker would get brought out on the ice when we were ice fishing. One of my favorites was a lot of times guys out ice fishing would bring blackberry brandy or peppermint schnapps, or there was a drink that was called the snowshoe where you mixed blackberry brandy and peppermint schnapps 50-50. And the fun thing was is I'd always have a flask with that, and I'd take a sip and pass it, and then I said, "Hey, remember, can't walk home on one snowshoe." And I'd take another sip and hand it over, and everyone thought that was pretty funny because really, if you have only one snowshoe on, all you do is walk in circles. Yeah, you sneak up on it. Never drink cheap wine. Used to drink Southern Comfort till I passed out and haven't touched it since. Yeah, Southern Comfort's terrible. Now, I got all messed up on Southern Comfort and never drank it again. But at one time, I would drink Yukon Jack like it was going out of style. I used to run around literally with a pint in my back pocket of Yukon Jack. I liked it that much. And yeah, now I can't. I was at a gathering and a friend of mine had some Yukon, and I tried drinking some of it, and I was just like, it's still good and tasty, but it isn't. I don't have the. Ooh, I need more of that. It was like nostalgia. Still tastes good, but that was it. It wasn't like I didn't want to go back to running around with a pint in my back pocket. Black Velvet, I like. I'm a Crown guy. I'm a Jim Beam helped me make my daughter. Whoa, whoa! It's all Jim's fault, huh? I am primarily a Canadian whiskey guy. I like Crown Royal, Canadian Club. What else would I buy? Rich and Rare. If I'm buying cheap stuff, Rich and Rare. Yukon Jack is good stuff, and my go-to is Wild Turkey 101. Oh yeah, yeah, Wild Turkey is good. I actually got invited. I haven't had. I think the last time I drank beer last Saturday, I had like 6 or 7 beers. A friend of mine had a little gathering, and that was probably the first. That was the first time I drank more than 2 beers in probably 10 months. Sick as I ever got drinking was from Crim the Meth, and I had a crimson complexion. Well, probably one of the reasons why you got so sick was all the sugar that was in that cream de meth. That's what really gets you is all the sugar. That's why those when the old schnapster goes out and bites you, that's why the hangovers are so bad. It's from all the sugar. Cream de meth, the grasshopper. Oh yeah, one of those, the old school. Uh, oh, I got a great story for you about a cocktail, old school cocktail. So uh tequila rose is pretty good. It's like strawberry milkshake for big kids. And so a friend of mine and I, we decided to go out for dinner, and we went to a bar in a small downtown somewhere. And we the lady comes up and she's talking about the drink specials. And I had a beer, and then the one of the drink specials was the old fashioned. And the guy that I'm hanging with is in his early 30s, and he ordered an old fashioned. And anybody who knows what an old fashioned is, it's basically a glass of bourbon with an orange peel in it and some sugar and a cherry. And so I don't mind Canadian Club, Barry. It's pretty good. And but I'm a Crown Royal man first. The Canadian Club's my next. So she brings me my beer and brings my friend his um old fashioned. Now he's a rum and coke guy usually, and he's a suck 'em down too. He's one of those guys that'll just put a drink down real fast. So he sits there, he mixes up his drink real quick, and then he probably drank a quarter of it in one gulp, and his eyes literally bugged out of his head like a cartoon character, because he wasn't expecting it to be a glass, basically a glass of bourbon. I about laid on the floor laughing. It was so damn funny. Old fashioned orange gas. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Jose Cuervo or Jose B. Cuervo. Yeah. Aviation gin would be Bombay, but that stuff, it's about killed me a couple times. Yeah, I like Don Julio. That's first the first tequila I ever drank where I actually said, "Wow, that's pretty good," was Don Julio. Everything else, even the high end stuff, it's all been nasty crap. What I always like to mix with Kahlua is just glass of milk and Kahlua, chocolate milk for big kids. Friends of mine would do Kahlua and coffee, or Kahlua Bailey's and coffee. Yep, I remember that one. Oh, great story. Some friends of my parents are she's a teacher, and she got remarried, and she never really was a drinker. And so when she got remarried, her and her new husband went on vacation for 2 weeks to some exotic location. And every morning, oh, Frangelico. Yeah, I bet that would be nice. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I could see where Frangelico would be nice in coffee. Um, every morning while they were on their vacation slash honeymoon, he'd make her coffee and he put Bailey's in her coffee. So she really never had it before and she really liked it. So now they're back home and now she's back to work and she makes herself coffee, and she wants to put the Baileys in it. So she actually goes to the cabinet, grabs the bottle of Baileys and puts Baileys in it, and then goes to school. She does this for like 3 days and ends up using the rest of the bottle. So she says to her husband, she's like, "Oh, I used up the bottle of Baileys today. This morning when I was making my coffee, could you pick up another bottle?" And he goes, "What? You what?" And she goes, I used the last of it, putting it in my coffee." And he goes, "You're going to work with that? She goes, yeah, it's just coffee creamer, isn't it? This is before they actually had the Bailey's line coffee creamer. And he's like, honey, that's alcohol. And she goes, it is? She had no idea. My favorite now is amaretto with pineapple juice and cranberry juice. I could see that. That would be good. Used to mix sloe gin with orange juice. Yes, that's called a slow screw. The old panty dropper. It's Mark Sauvé. Hi, Mark. Good to see you. Our Canadian friends are weighing in now. Later, I'll got to start my lunch for tomorrow and put a new cat tree I got yesterday for the new kitten. They'll be getting when she's old enough. Oh, cool. You're getting a new kitty? Awesome. Well, bye, Wendy. Have a good evening. Ever have black gold or Goldschlager or black Sambuca? I don't. I like black licorice, and I like black jelly beans, but I can only drink so much Sambuca. That is too intense for me. Heavens to Megatroid! There's so much tax on drinks here. The cost is ridiculous. A bottle of Canadian Club is around $75? Wow! Do you make sweet love to the bottle first and then you drink it? Yes, Dan, you got me a couple times with the slow gin and orange juice, the old slow screw. Yep, you've got the slow screw, then there's the slow screw with a twist. If you add Southern Comfort, then it becomes a slow, comfortable screw. Yeah, there's many. We have new kitties every day. Cats are everywhere. That's too bad. Black Gold is a shot of half Goldschlager and half black Sambuca. I wouldn't be opposed to trying that, Chester. Caesar with a beer chaser. I don't think Caesars are well known in the USA. I've never heard of a Caesar. Enlighten me, Mark. What is a Caesar? I remember drinking Jägermeister for free until I literally fell off the bar stool. Yeah, that stuff is just... I think the reason why Jägermeister hits you so hard is because it's so thick and syrupy and sugary. And I think it takes a long minute. Okay, dog's freaking out about something. Be right back. You all right? Come here, see Dad. All right, false alarm. Oh, a Caesar is like a Bloody Mary, except they use Clamato juice. I've had a Caesar then. And yeah, I do like Bloody Marys and draft beers. There is a bar that we'd go up to we go up north to Fife Lake for a ice fishing tournament years ago. It's all right. And we'd go to a bar called Gordy's. And Gordy's always had a permanent special. They do homemade Bloody Mary mix. And then, so you'd get a Bloody Mary, and then you'd get a little draft beer. It was like an 8 or a 10 ounce draft for a fixed price. And I literally would drink those all night. I love those. Tequila Rose, beers, Jaeger shots, beers, and beers. Yeah. A seizure salad. Used to drink red ice trays while taking hits from the bong. Or remember the one guy that would actually fill his bong with like liquor and then drink it after smoking out of it? That was what I was like, dude, I draw the line. No. Come on, don't you want a bong water cocktail? No, keep that crap away from me. Back when I was young and stupid, it was Southern and Coke. I worked on a farm for a guy for a while who was a high functioning alcoholic, and every piece of equipment on the farm, every building on the farm had at least a pint of Southern Comfort on it. Everything. You opened up underneath the seat of the truck, there was a pint or a fifth. In the tractor, everything. And I got to the point where I was like, well, and oh my God, work hard all day and then be drunk too. No thanks. That I put a halt to that idea right quick. I used to like to put hot water in the bong. Surprisingly pleasant. We always put ice and snow in the bong. Yeah, gotta draw the line. Yeah, Southern Comfort in the toilet tank. That way it's cold, right? I knew a guy that used to keep beer in the toilet tank. I'm older and wiser. I'm so done with. If I was still smoking weed, I wouldn't be doing bong hits anymore. No. Well, what happens is that eventually your tolerance level gets higher and higher and higher, and then eventually you need that level. It's just like those guys that are doing that wax and stuff like that real high percentage THC stuff, to the point where they have such a high tolerance now that nothing else comes close and they have to use that. And so it's just like anything else, you get a high tolerance to where if you can drink two fifths of liquor before you finally get drunk, it's the same thing. Then that becomes the standard. So anything less, just to go out and get 6 beers, dabs. That's exactly what it is. Thanks, Dan. Dabs. So yeah. So I always knew to not go that route, because otherwise you're going to have to go bigger and bigger and bigger. Never stick your finger in the pickle slicer. She doesn't like that. They catch you at work doing it, they might fire you too. Well, it's getting close to 11 o'clock here. And I think I'm going to pull the plug on it tonight, even though I'm having a really good time as always. Always appreciate everyone coming out and hanging out with me and just having ourselves a good time as always. So let's be like the Beach Boys. Let's get together and do it again. Be here, same Dougster time, same Dougster channel. Bye, everybody.